What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. We appreciate your support in getting us this far. If you haven't already, while you're down there with the subscribe, there's the join button. Hit that. That helps us out behind the scenes in many, many ways. And if you haven't already, while you're down there, also watch another video or two to make sure we stay in your algorithm, because we're always doing lots of new things, new videos, new different things, and we want to stay in your rotation here on Unique Access Entertainment. So without any further ado, man, today, somebody I've been admiring since I was a young man growing up in Maryland, and very honored to speak to him today. Stinky Dink, thanks for coming through to Unique Access.
What's up, Soren, my man? Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. So, you know, this all started to play off One Track Mind, but I'd done a post where I'd mentioned I'd gone to Bowie State University. You know, I'm from Maryland, grew up about 8 miles from Bowie, so I would be in Bowie all the time. Went to Bowie State, and I saw you perform with Brand Nubian, Leaders of the New School. Chris Thomas was the MC, and I had heard you on the radio with One Track Mind, and I knew, you know, you were making it happen. So before we get to all these other things, with that show at Bowie State University, as people from our area know, to do a go-go artist or go-go musicians in general to do a show with a rapper was normal. But
Right.
for you, since Brand Nubian and Leaders of the New School were, you know, really big, but not Public Enemy big, but they were huge, and especially in
Right.
our area, they were so big. What did that mean for you at the time, and how did you think that was going to be affecting your career?
Well, like I said, that time, One Track Mind was real hot. It was burning up the region, and you know how that go back in them days. You had to service the single and things like that. And when I started performing with those different national artists, I knew I was on my way up the ladder. You know, I did shows with Naughty by Nature because I think O.P.P was out at the same time as One Track Mind. You know, I did a shows with a lot of them cats. You know, culminating with the show at the Capitol Center with Leaders of the New School when Buster was with them, Scarface. Ghetto Boys when Scarface was with them. So, you know, I did shows with D.O.C. And actually, when I did the show with D.O.C., they actually opened the show. It was Norfolk State 92. They opened the show, then I came on, then RE came on. But they wasn't, the next week we went home, that's when it just blew up. We was like, man, those were the guys down Norfolk State, you know. So, yeah, it was just like, you know, performing with Brand New, and I'm like, okay, I'm on my way up, you know.
Yeah, and it was a great show, and it was just amazing on so many levels. But I was always confused, and I couldn't understand the East 11305 records. So you guys, that was an Upper Marlboro residence of somebody's or something?
Yeah, that was actually Paul's house.
Hmm.
Paul's
Okay.
house. He had the studio in the basement, but of course it was, you know, a high tech studio. But he had it in the basement. You know, actually, like the whole One Track Mind thing, man. I didn't write One Track Mind to record, son. It was a personal song. That day, April 10th, 1990, I was pissed off, and I was like, man, I'm about to make it in this rap thing. You know, I had One Track Mind, and I just wrote the song as a venting song. And I actually, you know, you test your rhymes out on your friends. And a buddy of mine came over, see music. I mentioned him on the record, and I rapped it to him. And we 18, 19 years old. He said, "Scrap, we're gonna record that." I'm like, all right, I ain't nobody, but he had an uncle named Mike Brown that played the bass, and Mike knew Paul and CJ and all them. And we, you know, we recorded it. You know, it wasn't even like, oh man, we about to make a hit. We recorded it, and it came out, and yeah, it just took a mind of its own. It's still breathing. You know, it wasn't
Absolutely.
even really made to record because you like you say, you listen to me. Most people know I'm more of a metaphoric dude. I write the fun party lyrics and make it make sense. I don't really write reality rhyme. You know, that's why you see people don't know about my street experience. I don't write about that. One Track Mind is probably the realest rhyme I ever wrote. And that turns out to be my hit, you know what I'm saying? Because people feel it, you know, it hit people on different levels, you know.
Yeah, we're about to get into a lot of that right now. So with that, and like your shirt, I remember too, it's AKA Mr. Riggity Raw on the single and all this different stuff, especially when it got with Luke later. But what and why and how did that come up to be kind of like your word, your slang, your statement?
That's a great question because we talk about that all the time. You know, back when we came up in the neighborhoods back in the day, we looked up to the older guys in the neighborhood, our uncles and the older guys. So around Minnesota Avenue, I came around Minnesota Avenue Southeast. It was a guy named D, real smooth. And when he did certain things, they would call him Riggity Raw. They say, oh, he off that Riggity Raw. So by this being the older guy I looked up to, I was like, when I got older and started rapping, I was like, I'm Riggity Raw. I'm the little Riggity Raw. So it actually comes from a guy around Minnesota Avenue in the hood. They called him Riggity Raw when he did certain things, and I picked it up as my moniker.
Okay.
And basically, for those who don't know, Riggity Raw, it just means super bad, extraordinary. Like, so, you know, somebody say, oh, he's super bad. That's what Riggity Raw is. You know, we say he raw, he Riggity Raw. That's extra raw. Yeah, like that, like that. And that's what it means.
All the way up. Yeah.
Right.
So that being said, too, I wanted you to explain, because I think people that are not from our area also don't understand that there weren't, even though you were starting to break this trend, there weren't a lot of rappers in the late 80s, 90, 91 in DC. There were starting to be more and more because rap was getting so big, but it was much more go-go singing, that type of stuff. So
Right.
for you, what made you want to really pursue being a rapper instead of being a singer, being in a go-go band in a different way?
Well, shoot, that story connects. To make it short, when Eddie Murphy came out writing jokes, you know, Jonah was a big thing back then in the city. I wasn't really a naturally funny dude, so I started writing jokes. Well, right around that time, the Eddie Murphy, where I caught on to Eddie Murphy, somehow God made Eddie Murphy write a song called Boogie in Your Butt. I think you remember. And I wrote Boogie Boogers. And this was when I was 14 years old, when I performed it in English class, in my ninth grade English class. And after class, my classmates that didn't know I rap just kept saying to me, when you hear that on the radio? I ain't hear that last night, because you know we used to listen to the radio. So my friends was like, nah, that's his. But in my mind, I'm like, wow. So they kind of really set me off to the rap thing. Then when I went to college, Fat Ratney, he was, you know, the man from my city. You know what I'm saying? Because if anybody know me like yourself, one thing about a lot of rappers from DC, well, not now, but the old school rappers, we became rappers, but we never became rappers. Meaning we rap, but we stayed DC dudes. We didn't dress New York, we didn't act New York. So Fat Ratney was the biggest influence to me. And when I went to college down Norfolk State, he used to come down Norfolk State. So by the time he came down there, I established myself as the rapper on the yard. It wasn't a New York dude, it was me. Little dude from DC, get drunk, freestyle forever. So when Rodney came down there, the yard would get packed on. Like Biggie Smalls was down there. This before Biggie Smalls. And me seeing that as a youngin from my city, and then they would put us in a little cipher. Rodney would rap, a couple of New York dudes would rap, I rap. And he took me under his wing. But that night, I went home and prayed to God. I was like, that's what I want. I want people to respect me for my rap the way they respect Rodney, a guy from my city. And that's what made me, you know, really want to go there. And then coming home, like I tell guys, like you say, it wasn't a lot of rappers back then. DC didn't have an industry of rappers. Rodney created it, which was a street guy who rapped, and he created the platform. I came behind him, and what it was if you rapping with Red Essence, this is what I explain to people. It was a lot of people rapping back then, but like I say, we're a go-go city. But the difference is, and the reason why my name is where it is and Rodney is who he is, when you're rapping with Red Essence, you're putting out 16 recordings a month. See, that's an industry tactic, but we don't pay attention because it's go-go. So basically, riding around the city while all the rappers in the studio recording, I'm coming out every day. Every day Red Essence plays a tape, and I'm on it. So automatically I'm gonna be the hottest. It don't matter what you're doing. And that was basically the formula until the industry came. You know what I'm saying? That's wild that you say that it wasn't no industry, because that kind of explains the impact that I be telling people. I was 18 years old and I was kind of like, other than the hustlers, I was like the man in the city at 18 years old because of rap. And it wasn't no other rappers. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the industry I was fighting against. So, you know what I'm saying? It was just me. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was, man, I live the industry life within the city.
Yeah, because to your point, I really think, if I'm remembering correctly, it was really because everybody else was in a band other than you and DC Scorpio, I would say probably just you two
Right.
of that era. But with so with the label, the East 11305, they also had MC Mike and DJ Maze, the Who Likes the Reggae Down as well. Did you know them well, or they just happen to be on the label, or?
Yeah, no, I don't know them. They just happen to be on the label. Mike, I was a young street guy. You know what I'm saying? I would be around the avenue all week and do my shows on the weekend. And I would, when Paul and them called me, actually things that I didn't know about back then, which was just my personality. I used to have what they would call, you remember the autograph signs at the Wiz or Kent Mill or whatever. And I would actually tell Paul and them, man, I'm not going, I don't have an autograph. And I would be around the way where I was supposed to be an autograph signing going on. But I think that was partly because what made me who I was, I came up with the city. You know what I'm saying? Going in the front door to go-go with everybody else, I just ain't had to wait in line. After the go-go over, while I'm one of the hottest dudes in the city, I'm coming out the front door with everybody else. I'm at the Pancake House with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? While the city is getting 400 bodies a year and everything going on. That's why when I hear the rappers talk today, I'll be like, they talk without all the money, they're talking about my life. I still live it. You know what I'm saying? When I get up and leave out and go down East Capitol Bennett Road, I get love for being Stinky Dink, for my talent. Don't have nothing to do with no money, no killing, no nothing. But I just come up in that era. You know what I'm saying? It's straight about rap, though.
Yeah,
They claim
absolutely.
that I live it, Soren.
Yeah,
For
well, that
37 years.
so that being said, when the song's getting big, how did the deal? Because you were on Effect Records, not Luke or not Skywalker Records,
Yeah,
Effect Records. So
exactly.
how and why was it Effect, and how did you connect with those guys?
Um, Luke brother, Stanley Campbell. I think he's an architect also. I think Paul does architect work. And they had a relationship. Stanley not really into music, but I guess he started coming to the shows and he just took a liking to me. My songs, the way I delivered, the way I controlled the crowd and things like that. And he just kind of took a liking to me, like, man, I'm gonna take you to my brother. So they set up the meeting. Me and Paul went down. And of course, you had to have the stats of having a single that's crushing the region and doing shows and stuff like that. But going into what you're saying, Luke took a chance. So that's probably why he signed me to Effect instead of Luke Records. Let me sign him to the subsidiary and things like that. You know, but I give him respect for that, for taking that chance and doing that. I talked to him, met with him personally. He told me when they took him to Supreme Court for those lyrics, I guess Me So Horny or whatever, he said, man, that was $20 million worth of free promotion because it made people that never would have paid him no attention like, why are they taking him to Supreme Court for some lyrics? They actually blew him up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it
Yeah,
was an experience.
I'd say the FBI did the same thing with Fuck the Police with NWA, probably.
Right, right.
So with Luke and being on Effect Records, did you get to meet like the Poison Clan or Bust Down or any of the other artists, or did you just meet Luke?
No, I just met Luke. Just
Okay.
just Luke and the Lord and his brothers. They did take me when I went down that weekend. I went to all the little clubs that they had and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Luke and his brothers run Miami, y'all. People who know. Been like that for a long time, right?
Yeah, I've been to one Luke party back in the day. It was quite an event. So yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
so
but that being said, what did you like learn from Luke, like or his brothers? Did you like get to like peep any game or learn anything about how the business works or what to do or not do from them, or not really?
no. At that time, I went down to get a record deal. Like I said, I talked to Luke. We talked, and the lawyers talked. I went down to get a record deal. Spent a couple of days down there, and actually came back home, and just continued to do my thing, do my shows, uh, and do my street thing.